entering into a whole new world. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. These planets are piled up in the 12th house. I mean a spiritual enlightenment. I mean a big awakening in each of our lives. Guess how I'm going to be feeling? Oh my God, there's an assembly of planets in my sign. Whoa, baby. It's this stellium in Aquarius with a water bear, which pours the healing waters upon humanity, the Akashic records, the profound collective consciousness of humanity. And I'm calling this the WTF is this, you know? Because I'm like, I've never seen anything like it. And so you see how Aquarius is so jam-packed that the software had to segment it this way. And you're going, what the hell is that? There's a lot going on in the sky that is unprecedented. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Unprecedented. What if this could open up your own rabbit hole? Your own Alice in Wonderland moment, your own Dorothy's not in Kansas anymore. This life is a dream. You can be lucid in the dream and you can begin to operate at a different level. Jesus walking on water, Neo in the Matrix, you know, defying the laws of gravity. I know it sounds crazy. So what I'm going to do is show you the way. Hello, everybody. I want to talk Alice in Wonderland. I want to talk Dorothy and Toto and entering into a whole new world. And I want to talk that way about the sky, this rare stellium of planets that are coming through the sign of Capricorn as we approach the 23rd of January and lingering for quite a while. And as we move into February, we'll feel this energy building up as something surreal and something perhaps magical, perhaps spiritual, perhaps opening up new channels or doors of collective awareness, maybe a bit of a spiritual awakening for the masses. But this stellium of energy in the sign of Aquarius isn't just the planets that are creating this profound enchantment. And that, by the way, which planets are they? The planet of Venus and Mars and Mercury, as well as the sun. And that energy is important because it's not just those energies. It's 8 or more asteroids piled up in this sign as well. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. So we would say that this is a stellium. It's not a parade of planets in the sense where they're not visible to our naked eye. We won't be able to see Venus and Mars. They're too close to the sun's beams and they've just been reborn here. They won't be visible for Venus until mid-February and Mars until mid-March. But what I will say is because these planets are compiled in or piled up in the sign of Aquarius, and Mars is the last guy in the door on March the 23rd, because they're all sitting in the same sign and pretty close to each other, there's also the element of the sense of the Saturn, the Lord of Aquarius, the planetary ancient ruler of the sign, sitting in the sign of Pisces, means that from Saturn's perspective, these planets are piled up in the 12th house. So 12 houses from any sign is the sign of a house of enlightenment. And I don't mean just a little bit of enlightenment, like I'm woke to the political. I don't mean woke enlightenment. People say I'm woke, I had an awakening. And I go, really? And I'm thinking they're telling it they had a Buddha moment. No. They're telling me they had an awakening because they now they understand that, I don't know, government politics are run by foreign entities or something. I mean a spiritual enlightenment. I mean a big awakening in each of our lives. This is what could happen in the next 3 weeks with this parade. Not a parade of planets, with a stellium of planets, or you can call it an assembly. They're all consulting with each other. I know my lighting is weird. I just couldn't sit at my desk on such a sunny day. And so I decided to try to stick you guys on a bar stool or two in my living room. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lori Lothy, and I'm using the Western Tropical Zodiac whole sign houses. And you'll all know that I'm into those fixed stars and minor asteroids. If this is your cup of tea, you're going to be learning about some asteroids today. Stick around, hit the like button, and subscribe. Some of you know that my 2026 bundle is still for sale, and also the individual signs, $22.55. It's a deal, and you're going to get 2+ hour videos on your sign. You can buy the bundle for friends and family. It's my yearly fundraiser. I'm not going to belabor it. Check below and sign up if you want to grab it. And if you want to do the Mercury webinar with me, it's free. My Kazemi webinar is coming up this week ahead. In the link below, you'll see a way to get into that, because Mercury will actually go into the heart of the sun this week ahead as well. So I'm recording this for you guys on January 16th. This video will drop on Sunday. Now, let's talk about asteroids for a minute. I always jokingly say the devil is in the detail. Sorry about my hair. It's not the autism this time. I'm not stimming. It's just that I need a cut so badly, and it's a mop, and I'm trying to get it out of my way. So in my view, okay, when you have this much weight like think of a teeter-totter in one part of the sky, and it's driving me nuts, you're going to find yourself weighted, right? Like one part of the chart is weighted, and that's your Capricorn that's your Aquarius part of your chart. So I'm an Aquarius rising. Guess how I'm going to be feeling? Oh my God, there's an assembly of planets in my sign. Whoa, baby. And don't forget, we have that Aquarius eclipse on February 17th. But each one of you listening today has one part of your sky that is Aquarius, one of 12 whole sign pie slices in the celestial wheel called your zodiacal natal wheel. And that one whole sign pie slice, please use whole signs. Learn how to cast your chart in whole sign houses in my description box. That one part of it is going to have a huge momentum for you as we approach Mars entering into Aquarius on March the 23rd and becoming a part of this celestial choir. And because Saturn is the Lord or boss of what's happening, he's sitting with Neptune and he's being melted, dissolved, and diffused in the tail end of the sign of Pisces. Saturn is leaving Pisces for good. Sayonara around Valentine's Day. And we'll be back for 30 years. And then we also have the idea that, hey, guess what? Neptune's been there for 14 in Pisces, 14 whole years, not back for another 160 years. So we're ending an era. It's an era is coming to a close. I mean, Saturn has been in Pisces since March of 2023. I hope I said it correctly. He's leaving and we'll be back for 30 years starting on February the 14th. So we're coming into a whole sea change. But as this assembly of planets, and I'm going to show you the sky, is piled up here, guess what? Saturn's witnessing it in what we call an inversion. In other words, it's sort of like to his side, right? Because he's in the sign next door, Pisces. But in a more traditional, like Vedic approach, we would say he's witnessing a bunch of planets 12 signs away from him, 12 houses away from him. And as I said, not only is Saturn the reality check guy, is it real? You know, is it a fake? Is it a deep AI fake? What is it? Is life real? Is this a dream? I'm going to write a book. It's going to be called Escape Velocity from the Matrix. And it's also going to be talking about the beautiful dream. And for some of us, we know that this is a waking dream, and we want to learn how to become lucid in the simulation, lucid in the wakened dream, in the dream, awakened in the dream. And, you know, it's fascinating to me because this stellium in Aquarius, with the water bear, which pours the healing waters upon humanity, is being activated from Saturn's perspective in the house of enlightenment, moksha, spiritual liberation, the Akashic records, the profound collective consciousness of humanity, the potential for past life recognitions, remembrances, and clarity, the ability to let go of karmic patterns and karmic knots and karmic vows, to let go of ancestral line damage or, you know, weird stuff that's been going through your family system and you end up holding the bag, you know, which is a very common thing in ancestral healing and family systems constellation work. So I'm going to give you one piece of advice, and we're going to go through all signs, and you don't have to look at me looking at myself in this weird lighting. I'm going to tell you that if you want to meditate, dream journal, vision board, if you want to do a past life regression, I have a great guy. I'll put his link in the description box below. Quantum healing hypnosis, but it involves past life stuff. Shane Robinson. You can get more mileage out of this than you ever would before. I'm scheduled to see Shane for my own quantum healing hypnosis in the first week of February. The stellium is still going to be active. So I'll show you the sky, and I also will talk about the minor asteroids involved. Now, some of you are learning astrology and you want to become better at it. So let me take a gander of a few possible teaching opportunities here before we go diving headlong into the whole story. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to minimize a bunch of junk on my screen, and I'm going to show you a couple of images, and I'm calling this the WTF is this, you know, because I'm like, I've never seen anything like it. And please like and subscribe and share if this is at all your cup of astrology tea, if you like this kind of stuff. Now, and welcome to my channel for about 6,500 of you who signed up in the last 28 days. That is amazing. I'm so grateful that you're here. Okay, so I'm going to show you one thing and then the other, okay? I'm going to show you what looks like the WTF is this. Just make it a big picture for you, okay? This That's what I mean. And then I'm going to show you the asteroids for your screenshotable if you want to learn these asteroids. I actually have one of them missing in this photo even. So you see how Aquarius is so jam-packed that the software had to segment it this way, and you're going, what the hell is that? That is exactly what we're talking about. You'll see that Mars, well, it will be on March the 23rd, that Mars, which is a Friday in my time zone, Mars will move into Aquarius. And you'll also see that there is Pluto. There's Mars, right here. Okay, this is Mars, and this is Pluto, and this is the sun. And Mars will meet Pluto, and it's going to be not so great for the world. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. This is Atlantis. Oh my goodness gracious, This is Icarus falling from the sky. I forgot to, that's Medusa. Sorry, that's Medusa. This is Icarus. This is the asteroid Diana. This is Arwan, the Welsh king for looking for a utopian world and a better place. This is Hestia, the goddess of the hearth and the hearth fire. Oh my goodness, who is this one now? Can't remember, but I'll be sharing more details when I get away from the static photo. So this kind of story without the asteroids all piled up here, if we just talked about Mercury and the sun, Mercury will have just been Kazemi, the sun in this picture. We'll be doing a webinar for free this week. Come join me. I think it's on Wednesday night. But if you look at this stellium of just Mars, traditional planets, or, sun, Mercury, Venus, right? That is enough. And that's Athena, the goddess of knowledge and wisdom. And you'll notice, by the way, that Saturn, that's him here. You can't see it. I just wanted to give you a dramatic close-up shot. He's looking back over his shoulder, and that's 12 houses from him. If you count it around the wheel all the way this way, this is 12 houses from where Saturn is sitting in this particular diagram. He's right here. And guess what? That's, as I said, the 12th house from Saturn. And he's being dissolved as he's only literally 2 degrees away from Neptune. So he's losing touch with reality. On the other hand, he could also be becoming spiritually awakened to unconditional love, oceanic consciousness, transcendental matters, interdimensional realms. So there's a lot going on in the sky that is unprecedented. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Unprecedented. Now, it's an interesting time to be in. Good thing is Jupiter is witnessing Saturn and giving him a trinal love up. But the other thing about that is that this is the asteroid America. And where is the asteroid America, guys? It happens to be sitting on top of Donald Trump's ascendant at 29 degrees of Leo. And this is an incredible week. I think I've got this set right now for Saturday, but I would say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th. I do not know what to make of this, because Athena is the goddess of war in the Roman tradition. And this is the first house of Donald Trump and his ascendant. And this is the house of open enemies and military victory or strategy in war. Athena has many other meanings, but that's one of them. And I can only speculate, and I hope I'm wrong, that there may be a breakout of some war that the United States is declaring, but from the executive branch without Congress's permission, that it's going to get itself all muddled up in, right? And I think we all know where that's going to probably be, right? If you want to think about that. Okay. And there's a war and threat of war. And in those days, your young men and your women will prophesy. There'll be wars and threat of wars. We're in the thick of it. Now, in this kind of stellium activation, and we think of places in the world where war could happen, and if we were going to use some possible, ways to suss it out, Leo might be a part of the nation of Iran's natal sky. Okay. So we just don't know. We know it has Aries sun. We know it might be also containing a Leo option as well. So there's a lot going on that could implicate that country and the United States of America as well. For the asteroid America to be right on top of Donald Trump's ascendant is pretty nutty. And we just had that lunation in Cancer that was exactly, like directly, okay, that Cancer full moon on the sun of the United States of America and the dog star Sirius. And again, that opens up big stories for the United States, and it could be military in defense of home and homeland. I don't know about that, but you get the picture. Lastly, because I'm going to go ahead and show you the asteroids and talk about your sign, I want us all to wonder about This is Icarus falling from the sky. When this happens, airplanes fall from the sky. Sorry, everybody. Helicopters fall from the sky. There was a Iranian general that his helicopter went down. I think he was a general or a leader. Maybe he was the prime minister. I don't know. That happened 2 years ago when asteroid Icarus was right on the sun. And I predicted a leader falling from the sky, and that helicopter went down in a fog bank that people think was manufactured. And the whole thing was, of course, not an accident, if you know what I mean. It was a purposeful unaliving of a political figure. So there could be with the asteroid Icarus and Pluto and the sun in a triple stellium. Okay, take a look, guys. This is this coming up closer to Friday, Saturday, Sunday, may say Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There could be a downing of an aircraft that involves a world leader, okay? Or it can be a political decapitation move, if you know what I mean. Especially with Diana, the huntress here. The huntress always carries her bow and arrows in our modern day are kinetic devices that fly through the air. So I'm going to predict that by the end of this week into early next week, we're going to see a major downfall, maybe unaliving, maybe plane crashing down from sky, helicopter, whatever, of some major political figure, okay, in our reality structures. I don't know. Xi Jinping is the ruler of China, and China is an Aquarius rising, and you never know. Maybe he could go fall from power or fall from the sky as well. There's stranger things have happened, you know. Okay, so that's the global picture. I'm not going to belabor that. My big prediction is Icarus means usually, and Pluto, sun means death of a solar figure, a leader. So death or downfall or falling down or something aimed at them from a bow and arrow. Diana, the huntress, is here. Mars is also the god of unaliving through unaliving techniques and including devices that unalive people. Sorry, I can't see any of these words here. You're going to know why, because algorithms change and YouTube's put up all of this intensity that I have to click a button said, does it involve weapons? Does it involve a sensitive topic? Does it involve anything controversial? Does it talk about death or tragedy? Well, that's called life. So if I actually use the words I would prefer to use here, this will be a demonetized video, and then I get a shadow ban off the demonetization. Finally, Medusa is the female Gorgon turned into, like, she had snakes in her head, and she was known to turn men to stone. But she was also a victim of an essay event by Neptune himself. And this is also the asteroid Atlantis. Now, Atlantis is a fallen civilization, right? I mean, it came to a flood and a disastrous outcome. We don't know what caused it to fall. Fall of an empire, fall of a civilization, a lost civilization. Mercury's here, could be new. So maybe something positive in the sky. Maybe we'll, unless it's a metaphor for a fall of a civilization, fall of an empire in our real time, it can look like a little bit of maybe Mercury, even though he's still invisible, has some exciting news about Atlantis, which would mean maybe they discover something under the pyramids or under the ocean, or there's some kind of new revelation about ancient civilization or lost civilization. That could happen. And that could be something positive this week ahead, especially as Mercury is coming into the heart of the sun, where hidden things that were revealed can fly into the news cycle. Let's say that would be on Wednesday. All right. So that's what I got in that story. Now, what I want you to do, I know I got stop the share. I want you to consider taking a look. Ooh, the light is shining at this and taking a screenshot. And why? Because it's information. And these are the asteroids I was rambling about, but these are the delineations. So some of you, I know you like asteroids and trans-Neptunians and all that stuff. These are the things that are activating as we go into this week, and attached to an assembly of planets or a stellium of planets that in its own right is quite rare. In 1962, there was a huge Aquarius stellium, or 60, and I was born in that year, for example. So, it doesn't really fit in my screen properly. Let me see if I can make it smaller. Does that help? Yeah, but then I got it. Okay. So the top one is Hestia, the Greek goddess, Roman goddess, Greek goddess. It's Vesta and Hestia of the hearth flame and hearth fire. She's in early Aquarius this week ahead. Hylonomé is the centaur who was extremely beautiful, in love with her guy Silurus, and he was killed by a spear, and she was so sad she threw herself on a spear. So it's self-unaliving stories. Let's keep it simple. So again, if there's a fall from somebody from power and they tell you there was a self-unaliving, I doubt that's really what happened. We don't think that Epstein self-unalived. Nobody does. R1. Okay, the Welsh king of, beautiful, everything's wonderful, no disease, lots of food, eternal youth, utopian ideals for the world. Diana, the daughter of Jupiter, she's basically attunement with nature, the fierce, independent feminine, but let's not mince words. She carries a bow and arrow and shoots at things. So we see weaponry here, and we see Mars, don't forget, the god of weaponry, in the sign of Aquarius during this week ahead. And kinetic devices that fly through the air, well, there's a lot of them. Take your pick. Icarus, son of the inventor Daedalus, wearing the waxen wings. Let's put it this way. It's somebody who's up high in a high level of power. Sun represents power. The wings melt and they fall from the sky. Let's keep it simple. Amicus, the centaur in a battle with the lapis, he took a candle holder, a sacred candle holder, and used it as a weapon, and he got unalived by the Lapithians. So another unaliving story. This will say finding an anomaly in the system and using it for other purposes. Like, we don't think of a candelabra as a weapon. And then we have Medusa. She is, facing our fear and being immobilized, but I don't know about that. She was decapitated. What is the imagery of a decapitation? Someone who is decapitated from power is falling from power, ousted from power, or unalived from power. And don't forget, it's very literal. Sometimes the sky is like a cartoon. It's so damn literal. We're going to stop the share. We're going to go through your sign. I want you to think of this as a week that is absolutely magical. Okay. And I'm going to say it's going to run through until early to mid-February. The stellium doesn't go away quickly. Let's show it. And then I'm going to talk about what if this could open up your own rabbit hole, your own Alice in Wonderland moment, your own Dorothy's not in Kansas anymore Toto moment. Where can you move into some new profound understanding of the magic and the unreality of life? It is a dream. When we learn how to lucid dream, I'm a lucid dreamer, but I don't always lucid dream, but you can teach yourself to do it. You have a nightmare and the bad guy's chasing you or the monster's at your heels, and you go, oh, I'm in a dream. And then in the dream, you turn around because you're lucid. You're like a wake up person thinking, oh, this is a dream. I get this. I'm in a dream. And you tell the monster to bugger off. Or you know what I mean? Or you're in a really good dream and you say, oh my God, I'm dreaming. I think I'll fly. I do that. So, it's the same thing. This life is a dream. You can be lucid in the dream and you can begin to operate at a different level. Jesus walking on water, Neo in the Matrix, defying the laws of gravity. I know it sounds crazy, but these are real things that I've experienced and continue to experience in my own journey through awakening. So what I'm going to do is show you the wheel of the sky. Then what we're going to do is go through all the signs. I just want you to see the whole picture and not the little subset, right, that I just showed you. Here we go. So this is just my software. Make it big, right? I do think that this is interesting to see Hygea of the goddess of health issues and the sign of lungs. Gemini can represent the lungs. And I can see that there's a lot of intensity with Athena. So there may be some stories going on to do with illnesses and hygiene and lungs and flus or coughs, but with Mercury, information or news. And because of the way things are going with the AI stuff, maybe a breakthrough. One positive thing I can see is a breakthrough in an illness and an announcement this week of a cure for some illness. Okay. So get ready for the announcement of a cure for some illness sometime in the next week or two, from let's say January 23rd, especially onward, but it could even start up as early as January the 19th, which is the day you're watching this video when it first comes out. Finally, I say that a lot, don't I? Sorry about that. That moon's coming back around, right? And on February 17th, there's an eclipse over here. So there's so much intensity in the sign of Aquarius. Now, I want you to watch something. I'm going to try to move us forward. Can't pin myself to Aries, so bear with me. As we move forward, this is Sunday, January the 25th. You'll see that this pileup is so intense. We'll see Athena leaving. So whatever that was about with the war situation, it's going to be gone. But it's Mars on the 23rd of the month moving into, which is a Friday, into the stellium that makes it that much more potent. Mars is visible on March 17th in the sign of Pisces, and Venus won't rise again until February 17th or so. So we're having a kind of invisible consultation with the sun and assembly of planets. Invisibility in this regard doesn't mean lack of intensity. And again, Saturn is witnessing it as he's dissolving in Pisces from here. He is second from the stellium. More importantly, the stellium, which is his territory, is 12 houses from him. And just to indicate how long this thing goes on, for example, here I am on January 28th. We still have Venus, Mercury, Mars, right? You get the vibe going on. January 31st, the whole gang is still here. Then what was this guy? That was Hylonomi, who unalived herself from grief and loss. February 4th, the gang is still here. February 6th, the gang is still here. Mercury finally leaves on February 7th. It's still a potent mix, but Mercury loosens his ties to this, and this becomes much softer once he's out of the mix. Okay, so holy moly. Of course, the South Node is here too. I don't even have that drawn in there for some reason. I don't know why. North Node, South Node, let's put you in there. Sorry, I meant to say the North Node is there. So, and then you even add Rahu. I thought I added it. I did. There's so much in there, I can't even witness it properly. Okay, so there you have it. There's the South Node. Oh, I see what I'm doing. And the North and South Node will be moving in to this territory. They're not here yet. I apologize. The eclipse is here. They move at the end of July. So we're going to start with Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising, and we're going to spin around the wheel. You might see a change of clothes as I continue the second half of this video because it's too sunny not to take a walk. I will see you. Oh, maybe I should keep on keeping on. No, tomorrow morning I'll be recording the second half of this video. Ciao, ciao, everybody. From now on, I'm going to start doing, I think, live streams on Mondays when I put the week ahead content out, because I think it'll be more fun and I don't have to pre-record it, and we can entertain conversations while I'm talking about the sky. And on Monday, if I do a live stream, it will be about the Cazimi in particular. Otherwise, it'll be a video you'll see as well. This video is scheduled for Sunday. Ciao, everybody. Oh, heck, let's just keep on keeping on. I was going to stop, and then I thought, why put off today what you can do tomorrow, or whatever that expression is. Hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to share. All right, let's talk about each sign going through this incredible stellium. I'm going to go back to the now, the day I'm recording, then I'm going to move us forward. All right, so we'll kind of go into like the middle of this week ahead. I would like to get Mars over for your visuals, so we'll start here. Okay, good enough, right? The stellium is really picking up speed on the 23rd of January. And we're going to start with Aries. Hello, fellow Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Don't forget, you are going to be feeling this experience in a good place. Why is it good? It is called the house of good spirit. This is your 11th house. And you know what you like about it? It's a house of goals, dreams, and wishes. It's where you wish fulfill, dream into being what it is you wish to have and see and occur in your life. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, because by doing that, you might actually manifest something in this kind of assembly of planets that we're seeing here. And I do think you need to take aim and hit the mark, because Diana's in the mix, right? You don't want to really have a bullseye. What are you targeting? What are you aiming for? What are you the hunter of when it comes to what you wish to achieve in your reality? Now, sometimes we get windfalls or pennies from heaven off of the 11th house, but I'm not sure that's what I'm seeing here. I won't give it a no. I will say a maybe. And the reason you might get that windfall is because the sun is the ruler of the 5th house of winning money. So possibly, yes, you could find yourself in the throes of some heavyweight financial luck. And we're going to say through to February, when February 8th, I think it was, when Mercury is leaving the stellium. So the potency is kind of January 3rd to, I think it was February 8th, end of the first week of February. Now, I want to mention here that because this is also Mars's journey through your 11th house, and he is the Lord of your sign. Don't forget Sun, career and purpose, Moon, home and home-based matters. the rising sign, your simulation game playing avatar. Because Mars is in your 10th, in the 11th house as well. Mars is like, okay, let's see if we can pull in a little bit of action, determination, and power and passion toward achieving your long range visions and goals, with a caveat that he can deliver the best results probably later in the storyline. He's not quite visible, but it's like, are you plotting world domination? Are you plotting to achieve some career gains and success that are really going to make a difference in the world, going to help the world at large, but are also going to be at such an intensity. It's like unlike any intensity you've ever experienced before. The gains of the 10th are the 11th. Sometimes it gives you celebrity or fame or influence and social media influence as well. And there might be such an intensity here that things are changing. Mars is a change god, and how you approach those goals, those aims, and those things that you wish to accomplish here. You certainly can be very strategic thanks to the support of a strategy goddess in this mix here, and that would be Athena. And I kind of wonder, I don't want you to have your wings melt or fall, but the types of people that come from the 11th house are your sibling one older, or your friends and social groups. And it could indicate a kind of a fall from grace or a fall from the sky of a particular friendship. And if that's going to happen, you're more likely to see that any time between, the 23rd of the month of January through to the end of the first week of February, like a falling out with a friend or an elder sibling, or they're going through some kind of very difficult circumstance and having some kind of fall from the heights in their own life. And you're just more witnessing from the sidelines. It has don't forget, fairy godfather vibe here. So do wish upon a star, so to speak, wish upon a stellium. And for the enlightenment vibe that's possible, or the spiritual revelation that's possible, maybe you're here to dream a bigger dream than you've ever had before. And maybe the shift is to allow for the possibility that the change that you wish to bring in the world, the healing waters you wish to bring upon humanity from the water bearers pouring energies, are something that you're about to learn, discover, open up to, or finally have a vision of who you really are and what you're really here to do that serves and benefits the greater good. Because ultimately, this 11th house stellium will change how you perceive your role in the world when it comes to your purpose and your career. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. This is an incredibly powerful 10th house stellium that's unprecedented. This is an assembly of planets starting on the 23rd of January through to when Mercury leaves, which, if memory serves me, I should have remembered the date because I call it Menno brain, but Mercury will leave this stellium on around, here around February 7th. So I was right. I kept saying around the 8th. So around the 7th, right? So 7th, 8th. Oh, no, sorry about that. No, I was right. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, around the 7th. I'm going to get back to you, I promise. Okay, so Taurus, I don't know what to say about this. Like, what do you guys think? I mean, in the comments, anyone? We have a career and reputation zone. Even if you're retired, you're doing something visible in the world, unless you're hiding under the covers or you're in an old age home. Even then, you're visibly interacting with the old age home staff. So there's just something about your visible actions in the world and how you express yourself and what you would consider to be success. And there's an amount of weight up here. This is the house of bar mitzvahs and weddings and christenings and ritual public events. Also hangings, anything ritually publicly done in spectator sport mode. So you've got this huge energy in the 10th house. High noon of the OK Corral is lit up. You might want to take bullseye aim at ambitious goal directions and new directions in your career. Some of you may be looking at quitting a job, starting a new job, passionately finding a new work or direction in career. Your reputation can be decimated or rebuilt. You're going to be looking at how people see you, and that's changing. You might notice that you have the potential here to really look at some financial gains from this as well. For Saturn in the 11th house from his home stellium can increase the gains of your career and give you long-term steadfast career gains that are much more significant than the amount of money you make right now, increasing your money and gains financially from your career because of this assembly. Look for January 23rd, February 8th to really indicate that some significant change is coming your way. I would say to you that you want to be very patient here because of the invisibility stature of many of these planets. But ultimately, you could burn your wings, you could melt if you're trying too hard at some career path, but you may melt and fall from something anyway. It's not your fault. That thing isn't for you. If some job ends or some ambitious goal in your career space is kind of collapsing around you, well, that was meant to happen. The sun is a ruler of your fourth house of home, property, and real estate. And of course, anytime the sun is involved in anything, let alone something as powerful as this, it'll be a sun, Pluto, Mars combination, you may have a change of home. And if you do have a change of home, Venus says it'll likely look like a rental property. It may feel like a death and rebirth experience, not any old change of home, but like, oh my God, a change of home. This is unlike anything you've seen in this life before. So it can be that the reason for the change of home is something completely outside the box. It could be connected to professional or visible reputation endeavors. It can be connected to job and work opportunities. Mars is up there, Lord of your marriage house. It could be connected to situations going on in a long-term relationship, but there can be a change of career direction, career path, career work, as well as home, and some things here with your significant love relationship. Sometimes Mars in the 10th house can be like you're in a relationship and you're going to announce to the world that you're separating or you're going to have a divorce. Mercury is the announcer. So there's a lot to say about this intensity. If you feel discombobulated, I wouldn't blame you, right? Venus is up there. She's the Lord of your sign, but she's overwhelmed with it like a stellium, and she doesn't have a particular dignity. So you just might find, don't worry, Venus is protecting you, the better home, the better rental property, the better job, but she's also the goddess of love and beauty. And Mars is up there ruling your marriage house. So there's some changes in long-term love relationships, maybe. If you're single, yeah, I guess you could meet somebody under this intensity. It may happen because Mercury rules your romance house and Mars rules your commitment. So if you're single, look no further than work environments to meet somebody. All righty. So I just need a little chocolate break because I wasn't planning to continue keeping on with this, but I thought, I don't really want to do it in the morning. I'm already, wearing half-assed hair and makeup. I'll be right back. All right, I am back. That was a needed break. Let's move into, I know I don't have to tell you what I do. I get that. I'm me. I'm like autistic. All right. So let's keep going and move away from Taurus. And let's move into this assembly of planets, unprecedented power in the top of the sky that you guys had. And we're going to move to the next sign. So this is a forecast that I'm really applying for your reality, guys. Remember, like the 23rd of January until about the February 8th timeframe. And so in this element of ninth house storylines, you have an exceedingly lopsided sky, even without those asteroids. And to me, that lopsided sky is simply telling us, I hope my microphone is actually on. Oh, it's a day. Yes, it is. I think that you're going to find that this is going to lead you towards meaning and purpose. Why? Well, there is a Dharma energy playing out, and Mercury is in the Dharma house, and he's the Lord of your Gemini sign. And so sun, moon, and rising, sun, you Gemini, and your career and purpose, moon, your emotions and your home, and Gemini sun, of course, rising, your avatar simulation. And in this regard, it looks to me like you're really, really seriously taking a look at finding something in your meaning, purpose, dharmic alignment that is unprecedented. If you've always been kind of like, what's my purpose, or trying to lean into purpose, or asking questions about what purpose really is, if that's been something that you've been up to in this life, this kind of stellium is going to rock your world. It's going to like literally give you a whole new perspective on purpose. There are practical stories in the ninth house of purpose and meaning, and some of them are travel to foreign lands and shores. I'll be away during a little bit of this. Some of it is matters connected to courts and court systems, higher education, publishing and book publishing. There's a huge amount of energy that's going on through that part of your sky. And it's not just about the time that it's happening, of course. I mean, it will be importantly that because there will be an eclipse here in February. But it's the idea that something wants to lean there with an Alice in Wonderland vibe, because Saturn is in your 10th house of career and he's at the top of that sky. Let's move us back a bit. No, we'll leave it at that. I'm not going to cover Neptune's ingress into Aries. That's a separate video. But when we start the stellium off, he's being dissolved, Saturn, dissolved by this intensity here. I kind of think that you might find yourself completely wanting to change careers. I mean, Saturn is at the authority, a peak of a mountain. He's a master of something. He created mastery in your career starting in 2023. Now he's looking over his shoulder, and the 12th house from him is this energy of the 9th house stellium. It's like the voice of God is there. Heaven is there. Spiritual truth and knowledge and wisdom is there. Something's got to give. And Saturn might be saying that he's pointing you in a new direction. 9th house new directions are very much connected to wanting to be of humanitarian service, to apply something to do with knowledge and wisdom and truth in a good way towards the world. And so you're going to notice this energy is really intense, January 23rd to February 8th, where you're leaning into that question, what's my purpose? And you probably will find the answer, but look for the rabbit hole that you fall down. Look for the mystical, magical dreams at night that show you the way. Mercury here could bring you dreams. This is like the Asclepium temples that really open up doors of new directions. Book publishing deals, book publishing opportunities, beginning to write a new book. All of this is possible. The sun rules your house of writing, communicating, teaching, marketing, and selling. So I have a progressed sun in Gemini. I might find a new course I want to teach. I might make up a new idea. I might finally get my book proposal written for my agent, Eileen. More and more, I think this is going to open up for someone like me more desire to write. Okay. I'm really a writer and a journalist at heart. I was a writer for years. I want you to consider whether or not with this kind of a 9th house stellium, you're open to spiritual teachers. You know, you'll find that the preacher on the pulpit, the guru, the dark and the light side of those archetypes belong to this 9th house. And it's very possible because the sun is a solar figure in the house of its joy here, that you could end up needing a spiritual guide, a spiritual teacher, or having access to a body of spiritual knowledge and wisdom that changes your reality. So keep your eye on the ball for that possibility. Any opportunities that emerge, especially this week on Wednesday through the Cazimi for foreign travel and foreign land events, you should say yes and sign up on the dotted line because there's something very special trying to happen here. Take aim, find your bullseye. You know, there's a utopian God to dream a better world into being, but through the knowledge and wisdom that you will acquire or that you will dispense into this world. All right, let's continue to move on. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Don't ask. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. It is a story for you of amazing intensity as you see this incredible pile up in your 8th house of chunky money. This could open up opportunities for you to come into some financial gain, spiritual enlightenment. Quite possibly you could open up into money coming from a spouse or the in-laws. Often the 8th house opens up doors to do with enlightenment as well, because it is the moksha house of letting go of your egoic identity. And, you know, of course, nothing more intense than Pluto, Mars, Sun energy for a death and rebirth of your identity. However, because this is also a part of the chart that connects to spousal shared resources for those of you who have them, and because we have that intensity in the 8th house, there may be some major news stories coming through your sky anytime, honestly, from January 20th to February 8th, that really connect you to matters of spousal shared monies and resources. Now, if you don't have a spouse, that's fine. Okay. that's not your story. But if you do, there is that story, or money from the in-laws. There may be some discussions about property buying and selling in this kind of story with your significant other. And there may be opportunities to purchase a home or sell a home or property as well. So you got to keep your eyes on the ball, but through to February 8th, that's something that may show up in a once in a lifetime intensity and possible way that feels really good in your view. Like you'd be like, that's good news. I wanted to buy that property. I can't believe it's for sale. Now, with Venus up here, if you're looking to buy a property, she does own the fourth house or sell yours, and she's going to try to do her damnedest to bring you a great result. And with the sun as the owner of your second house, and your second house is your money, your pocketbook, your wallet, that could say that upon selling a property or purchasing a property, you're going to benefit greatly one way or the other. Maybe the property is a property that you're going to sell, you're going to rent out, for example, and make and add income, rental income. This is good for book publishing deals that make you secondary income through royalties, for example, or derivative money you make from other people because you share it with another. So you might even have a stock investment that really takes off. You're a shareholder in a company. But whatever this is, it's definitely going to impact money. You have to be careful. We do see the wings melting here, so don't take any risky investment opportunities. Mars rules the house of your risky investments. And so risky investments are to be watched out for. It would not be your best choice. And I like the idea here that if any of you are thinking of journeying to a distant place or foreign shore, or taking a trip abroad, if any of that's possible, Saturn and North Node are suggesting that could really be good for you. And also there's an energy of the activation by Mercury of the distant shores of the 12, pilgrimages, foreign lands, adventures in far off places, spiritual ashrams, spiritual guidance and teachers. These stories become very highlighted if it's at all a part of your life, that these things to do with seeking and finding spiritual wisdom and truth through travel, guides, mentors, far off places, ashrams, spiritual community. This is a good window for you. Kind of opens up as soon as we get the Mercury Cazimi. So I'm thinking by the 21st onward to about February 8th, you should take advantage of those opportunities if they come through. More importantly, with a rabbit hole in the 8th house, and this is definitely a transcendental energy, besides your occult powers opening up, I talk to dead people, I channel angels, I see through other dimensions all at once, because Mercury can help you do that. Pay attention to your dreams as well during this cycle. You're really inventing yourself. Often when people have an 8th house age and they go into the cocoon chrysalis state and they come out the other end of their age, they're transformed. They quit long-term love relationships. They end long-term career paths. So something interior changes, and then the outside world changes as well in dramatic ways. So there's inner work that changes your outer life in a pretty significant way, sometime through to about February the 8th. So let me know how that begins to unfold. It's pretty powerful. I should say inheritances can come through as well in this kind of sky. So you may come into some inheritance money as well. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. So in this kind of a sky, you're probably thinking, wow, my significant long-term love house looks chock-a-block with people. It's heavily populated. Well, these are other people. Some of them are clients. Some of them are customers. Some of them are your audience and fans. And some of them are your open enemies. And some of them are your long-term love partners. And some of them are your business partners. And this is Donald Trump. He's a Leo rising. I know you Leos hate when I mention him, but he's a good public example. So there's a lot of people competing for his attention. Who's competing for your attention? Who is this multiplicity of people? Mars rules your home. People who live in your home, maybe even your children, are competing for your attention. Right? Mars rules your 9th house, and he's in the 7th. Your guides, gurus, mentors, and teachers are competing for your attention. Venus is in the stellium. Maybe it's your aunts, cousins, uncles, nieces, nephews, but siblings in particular, competing for your attention. That's your 3rd house. Possibly your boss and career and colleagues are competing for your attention. The public is clamoring for your attention some way. That's 10th house matters. Mercury's in the mix of the stellium. Who else is competing for your attention? Well, people dealing with money, your money issues, and also competing for your attention according to Mercury's, vibe on the sky, right? Could be anything to do with your friends and your social groups and your networking. So in other words, the planets that represent parts of your people life are just jammed into a huge lopsided lump in your seventh. Do I have guidance for you? I sure damn do. Sun is your sign. When sun goes through the house of others, you're often distracted by other people's shit and you're unable to focus on what you need, what you want, and what the epicenter of your own truth is. Guidance, go inward. Okay. Some of this might involve money and spouse, in-law money, inheritance money, property sale, taxes. And that might be because of where Saturn is sitting, very distracting. A significant long-term love relationship partner is going through a death and rebirth experience, and you're on the sidelines witnessing it. Hang in there. Times will get better. If you're single, you could start a relationship under this hot mess, but I would advise against it because the sun baking into a new relationship here will distract you from yourself and you'll orbit like a planet around the sun, the other person. It's a recipe for losing yourself to a relationship rather than enjoying and becoming happy in a relationship. With that eclipse coming on February 17th in the house of your significant long-term love, you're in the foreshadow or the early activation zone. And so there can be a major rupture in a long-term committed love relationship. That's for sure. So watch out for that possibility. And there may be also unexpected opportunities for travel connected to siblings, and watch for that opportunity as well. Let me know in the comments how this intense, rare assembly of planets is working for you. Being a sun, moon, and rising sign. I think I'm going to do all my videos on the sofa. I'm going to call it Lunatic Lounges on the Sofa, Lunatic Lounging Astrology, because I do have a desk. But you know something? For some reason, I'm out of touch with my desk. Sitting at my desk is not vibing anymore. I'm sitting here on my sofa and I'm having a much more enjoyable time. I don't even care what the lighting's like. I hope this is okay for you guys, but I'm telling you, you got a lounge lizard here. I'm no longer going to be actually at my desk. I think I just want to sit on the sofa. So let's move into Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Virgo, sun, moon, rising sign. What can you do? The Lord of your sign, Mercury, happens to be in a stellium, a fever pitch of intensity in the house of health and work. This also activates addictions. If you are addicted to any substance and the sun is a ruler of your house of self-undoing and you've got a chock-a-block crew, like once in a lifetime stellium, and where have your wings melted? You've fallen from the sky because of self-undoing, because of addiction or bad habits. Well, this wants to change it up. End of story. Because this intensity of Pluto, death and rebirth is here. Take aim, hit the bullseye, make a decision. You know, it's funny. I was reading today on a sobriety group I belong to about, you can make the hard decision today or you can make it later, but at some point you've got to make it. And that's the vibe of this sky for you. Okay. So there's something about really coming to terms with self-undoing, closing up a chapter, especially if it impacts your health or your relationships. And with Saturn, the Lord of the stellium in the house of marriage, it's very possible that there's a lot of pressure going on in your life connected to health or habits with a significant other in your life. The second thing I'd say is you can transform your health. You can transform your addictions. You can transform your work habits and routines because of the stellium. The sixth house is the work you do. It does represent rental contracts for properties as well. And there may be some major changes regarding rental agreements that you might be getting ready to make or will make, including cutting out of or ending a current rental agreement. And this is definitely playing out. Look at the thumbnail title or wherever I put it, I said February 20. I think I'm going to create the thumbnail a little earlier because of Mercury's Cazimi and say anytime between February 21st to February 8th, you're really feeling this energy, right? It's really intense. If you have a pet, This is an intense energy in the house of pets. There's two things that can happen. A difficult health challenge that could end the life of a pet. I'm sorry, I'm a realistic astrologer. However, that pet would likely be an elder pet because of Saturn's involvement as the lord of the sign and his position in the sky in the setting place. But on the other hand, if you are thinking of getting an animal, this is a stellium that could propel you to take aim, hit the bullseye, call the breeder, put an order in, do the research, find a baby cat or dog that's going to come into your world. This is that kind of intensity. And because you're ruled by Mercury, I mean, it's going to be the exact pet that you need and the perfect timing. Venus says it's going to bring you love and it's going to bring you affection and it's going to charm the shit out of you. And Mars says you could get it in the local establishments in the local area. You don't have to import a pet from overseas. But the Venus says, but you could get a Chihuahua from Mexico too. So there's a lot of ways animals could come to you. But I do see that this is great for getting an animal into your life and almost like an emotional support animal as well under this kind of sky. We all think that we just want a pet because it's, I don't know, good exercise regime if it's a dog, but this could bring a really intense bond with an animal that's new into your life as well. Doesn't mean you have to get the animal right away because Mercury would be the contract, the agreement, the purchase, the arrangement for an animal, especially if you're looking at breeders and you have to be on the pregnancy schedule of the breeder and her animals or his animals. It's so funny here because there may be a quitting of a job. Some of you might be getting ready to end a job or end a career path. Mercury rules your 10th house. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be afraid of that. If there's an end of a job, it could be better for your health. You were being drained in the kind of work you were doing. It wasn't good for you. Maybe it drove you to addiction, for goodness sakes, decompressing at the end of a work day. So somehow, some way, this could also open up doors for new directions in jobs. If you quit a job, fine. Someone in the job place ends a position and you get raised to their position and you like it better. I'd say there's changes in the work environment that looks like a change of career path or a change of work situations as well. And this kind of stellium in the sixth house can have you end karmic debts and karmic debt relationships that you're no longer needing to be a part of. And unfortunately, depending on how you feel about that, that could be the ending of a karmic debt relationship with somebody in your life that you would consider almost like a spouse, like a long-term love story. And that's because Saturn in the house of a spouse, looking at the stellium and the sixth, and we end, cut, and sever karmic relationships that have come to a closure in love and friendship and in business and all of that. So we're moving on to the next sign. I think you can hear that outside probably, but that's life. Someone's like, it sounds like a dumpster. Let's talk about Libra, sun, moon, and rising. What a sky. What a sky. Looks to me like you're experiencing an incredible assembly stellium of asteroids and planets in the fifth house. The fifth house is sex, love, and romance, children, fertility, pregnancy, and conception, creativity, entrepreneurship, artistic endeavors, and your natural talents and gifts. And if you're going to sell a property, it's the financial gains from the sale of the property specifically. With all of that said, with that intensity there, and you're a single Libra, I don't know. This could bring in a game-changing, super intense love relationship with Saturn's position through the work environment, through your work and career environment, or because you're involved in animals and pets, and you could meet somebody new, walking the dog or something. This kind of stellium, if you're artistic or entrepreneurial, is going to galvanize your attention to your creative, muse-inspired, artistic creations. Remember, we have a rabbit hole. We have Dorothy's not in Oz anymore. Dorothy's, you know what I mean? Wizard of Oz and Kansas and all that stuff. What is this story for you guys? What is trying to Alice in Wonderland? Where's the Mad Hatter when you need it? There's a rabbit in that fifth house, and it's going to take you down a rabbit hole. There can be a rabbit hole in the sense of your artistic and creative energies. You might just find yourself going into some kind of new state of channeling or something, some kind of artistic or creative endeavor. Mercury is going to cazimi around the 21st, 22nd. I can't remember exactly when. And that's going to give you news or information about pregnancy or fertility, possibly. And you'll have to make decisions about you keeping or not keeping the child. Why? Because Venus is the ovum and sperm, right? This is news about pregnancy and fertility. And Mars is, and Pluto is, should we keep it or not keep it, or is it sustainable? So there's a lot of intensity around fertility narratives for some Libras for whom that is a stage of life as a guy or a girl where you can conceive a child. Or your children that you already have are going through an intensity during these 2 to 3 weeks. Like, what is going on in the life of a child, including are they having a conception story as well? And maybe unexpected, thanks to the square from Uranus. If you are somebody who has a natural talent you were born with and you don't really use it financially, it's not a part of your mindset, then this might propel you to take that gift, talent, or ability and wonder if it's time to use it in a career gains mode. The sun is a ruler of the gains of your career, and begin to apply your talent or entrepreneurial or creative artistic endeavors to making money in your career. And finally, maybe a windfall, because the sun is the house of ruler of the windfalls, pennies from heaven. And this is a stellium in the winning money house. And some of you might win money. So what would I say? Anytime, particularly between, I don't know, January 21st, we want Mercury's cazimi there, through to February 8th, it would be okay to play a lottery ticket now and then, okay, or go to the casino, but please don't gamble your life away. That's not what I'm telling you to do, already. And that's what we got. Crazy sky. All right, Scorpio sun and moon and rising sign. It is going to open up as a once in a lifetime fourth house stellium. That's your property, your land, your home, and where you live. It's your family of origin. It's your legacy wealth from parents. It is an intense sky. Sun represents solar figures, so legacy wealth from father figures as well. Possibly there is an inheritance that may show up for you. That's one way to look at this during this transit. Also, massive shifts regarding where you live, major changes of your home environment. Maybe you could construct, build, tear down, renovate, and gut a home. That could work. Venus would be redecorate, Mars would be, tear it apart. But you could also be looking at Mars simply means move. Pluto usually means a transformational move, a profound move, something that rocks your socks and knocks your socks off, right? Mars is the Lord of your sign. So he's giving you some clues in this heavily weighted sky. And Venus wants to bring you that which is beautiful and that which is joyful and a place, a home that works for you that way. Mars here is also possibly opening up a rental property opportunity for you to lease a new home or to lease your own home out and move to somewhere else. So look for that story to roll through, most likely all the way through until February the 8th. Mercury is the guy who would market, sell, deal, and negotiate changes in home. This could also be opportunities to sell or purchase a new home. Mercury rules your house of mortgages. But with Saturn getting ready to move into the house of rentals, some of this could look like rental opportunities as well. Now, when it comes to things to do with Saturn's perspective, he's in the house of fertility and children and sex and romance. And there may be some stories about changing your home because of children, because of the children you have, to move closer to them. Maybe changing your home because you're going to have a child. And my son is now pregnant with his wife, so he's a Scorpio rising. Thanks, guys, for the congratulations. They may want to choose a different home, although I think they may stay in theirs. You never know. And finally, I think that the sky in the fourth house, because it's one of the moksha liberation vibes here, it is conceivable that you could come into a kind of a opening spiritually. And if you do it, kind of spiritually awaken a bit, it's because of something you're doing at midnight, home alone in the dark in your bed. You might, have a profound dream. Mercury is the dream messenger. You could have a bit of a spiritual liberation vibe for those of you seeking spiritual awakening through a nocturnal dream. Or something going on in your dark midnight hour. The fourth house is the midnight hour. Okay. whereas the 10th house is your high noon, archetypally. Moving on to Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Huge energies, once in a lifetime assembly of planets. With the asteroids, it's once in a lifetime. In your part of your sky that you define as the third house. Now, this is a house of siblings. And there may be something going on with a sibling. And with this kind of chart, you can activate a sibling one older, a sibling one younger, a sibling two younger, and a sibling three younger, and a sibling three older. I know that's a lot, but hang in there with me. Actually, to be clear, this guy, because of the stellium, opens up all siblings. One older, two older, three older. One younger, two younger, and three younger. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to count for you. So basically sibling. So major things are going on for siblings for you Sagittarius. Okay, that's where we're going to stop. The buck stops there. Siblings is probably cousins, uncles, sure. But siblings, third house stuff. So it may not be your story. This heavyweight stellium may be interacting with siblings' lives and you're on the sidelines, but there's important engagement in how it impacts you as well. And that's what you need to know. You could be dealing with issues to do with siblings, for example, and rental properties, issues to do with siblings and far off lands and travel, siblings and career gains and financial gains from career, siblings and I'm getting dizzy. Are you? Yeah, those are some of the themes. And I don't know that you're going to find that this story is yours to carry, but if it is, how does a sibling and the life events that are deeply, profoundly weighting their world, they might have wings melting, they're having a difficult time, they're going through needing to take aim, they're trying to figure out Hestia, hearth, and home, they've gone through an unaliving of their spouse and they're morose and unhappy. These are all the asteroid stories. Something might be going on. It's very challenging in the life of a sibling, life rites of passage, and you are on the sidelines, and it's going to impact your world as well. Now, because it's involved in the third house, it's not only siblings. It can be social media, online, writing, communicating, teaching, marketing, selling, and traveling short distance, but it all connects to Mercury's rulership of your career space. And so there may be some major changes in your work. If you work in a social media sector, or you have a lot of marketing, selling, teaching, and writing in your work, and maybe this could even open up a heavily positive energy around a book publishing and writing opportunity as well, if those are things that you're doing. Otherwise, you might be going into a big travel energy here, long distance or short distance. You might find that anything between, particularly the 23rd of January and February 8th, you want Mercury and Mars together and put you into travel mode. And this travel has got more importance than you know. It's going to open up defining moments of dharmic energy. Travel leads you to purpose. Purpose and travel get intertwined together some way, somehow. If you're in a relationship, some changes in your long-term committed love and relationship could come, but in positive ways through the word travel. Okay. And if you're single and you're looking for a person, although this is very intense, through travel, you may meet a new partner of destiny. And this may be somebody that not only do you fall in love with, but you wish to commit to, for you singletons as well. All right, let me know how this goes with Saturn in the fourth house of home, property, and real estate, witnessing it as a 12th house from him. It just indicates some of you may change your home to a distant, far off land or foreign place under the impetus of this stellium. Although you may not move, right, by say February the 8th or something, there is an eclipse that connects all the dots here. So it could be a longer term story that initiates a desire to move your home to another country. All right, let's keep on keeping on. And maybe because of love, beginnings and endings as well. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, if you were to look at this sky from my perspective, I'd be telling you it's about the money, honey. All this this energy is in the sign of your second house of your wallet, pocketbook, earnings, savings, resources, food, shelter, water, possessions. What the hell is this, Capricorn? What the hell? It's your speech, it's your face, and it's your teeth and your nose, and it's what you eat. So you can change your dietary habits, massive reassessment of your food style, including anything that you shouldn't be eating. You could have some serious facial rejuvenation work you want to get done. And you might also be working on your teeth, right? You might be also looking at something to do, things you need to say, your speech. What do you need to say? And to whom do you need to say it? But that aside, it's more practically known to be a financial house. And because the sun is the ruler of your chunky money house and you got Uranus in the fifth, you could come into a win. Mars is there, a windfall, a win, coming into winning some chunky money that fortifies your pocketbook and your financial resources. But if that's not that story, and there's so many ways to spin this baby, this could also be about money and property and money and home. And you may be looking at opportunities coming through the sky as early as the Cazimi on like the 21st or so of the month, or 22nd, I think. Probably on the 21st. You might be looking at opportunities here for purchasing a home, maybe selling a home, moving a home. Under the sky, you could rent a property, move to a rental property. Under the sky, you could have a career opportunity, a new job opportunity, a new work opportunity emerge. With the Cazimi, it could happen sometime earlier this week. Let's say, let's say January 21st, 20th to the 25th, getting news of a job opportunity, a job offer. Otherwise, we could be looking at buying a car, rental property opportunities. But here's the more important thing. Your values ostensibly in your I have, your havingness and your values belong to the second house. And there's a huge energetic condensing of planets here, asking you to assess your relationship to your values, to your self-worth, to your money, to your speech, and of course, your dietary style. And for your dietary style to change, strategically, it's going to activate health, Hygea, health, right? So you're in your house of sickness, in your sixth house right now. So it indicates also that there's a huge impetus for health style changes connected to food style changes as well. And if you speak forcefully with Mars, I wouldn't be surprised. Your speech is strong, but Venus is bonifying it. So it's strong. It's like tough love speech to those with whom you need to have tough love speeches too. You could get some news that you're going to be a grandparent off this sky. Surprise. Let me know how that goes. Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising. What a rabbit hole. You're in it. You are the rabbit hole. I'm one of you. I'm an Aquarius rising. I'm an Aries sun. I said, when I put something out lately talking about Donald Trump, and I said he's a Leo, and I got so many comments saying, no, he's in a Gemini. Guys, he's a Leo, a sun and a Gemini sun. So I am a Aries sun and a Gemini and an Aquarius rising. So Aquarius rising and sun and moon Aquarians, right? Sun is your career, moon is your emotions, sun is your dad, moon is your mom, sun is your career and purpose matters and your true soul essence, and the moon is your thoughts and feelings about your life and often the nest and home. Aquarius rising, your simulation avatar in the game, right? The character you play, the role you play here, the water bearer, the Spock-like nature. Okay. Aquarians love people, love humanity, but don't like people. Alrighty. And that's very true. So it is a story of transformation of character, identity, career, or emotional content. And if you're an Aquarius moon, your home and where you live, or your relationship to your mom. Aquarius sun, your career path, or relationship to father figures and fathers, authority figures. And Aquarius rising, your whole friggin' identity in the matrix is changing. You know what it's like, Aquarius rising? You got into a video game, right? And you were choosing, like, I want to have, I want to have these superpowers because that's how video games work. You choose the characteristics of the avatar that you're going to play. And then you're literally dropping into the game. And all of a sudden now, after playing the game the same way, same old for years, there's a new option on the game board to completely change the characteristics of your avatar simulation character into something brand new. So I want you to think of it's the I am house. I'm a writer. I'm a mother. I'm a sister. I'm an employee. I'm a boss. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a healer. I'm a teacher. I'm a guide. Whatever. I want you to fill in the blanks, Aquarius rising. I am what? Because you're changing your I am what you are. right? It's going to be something unprecedented and new. Your wings are melting, you're falling because the old identity isn't fitting for a lot of Aquarius risings. You want to change it up. You got to shift it. I don't know, maybe Atlantis here means taking gifts and talents from your Atlantean lives and repurposing them. Diana, hit the bullseye, take aim. Who do you want to become in the avatar simulation, game playing matrix that you're a part of? Can you come home to yourself, Hestia, in the character simulation avatar? Now, everything I said is true for sun and moon, but just this focus is less about the character being changed up as it is about the career path and purpose for the sun and the home and nest for the moon, or how you deal with your emotional and mental issues. The Lord of the story is Saturn. Saturn rules Aquarius. It's not Uranus. And Saturn is sitting in your second house of voice, vocation, calling, earnings, resources, money, speech, dietary habits and styles. This is 12th from Saturn. It's really good for making determined shifts around addictions. I'll definitely put my hand up for the wine lover's middle way. I'm working on it, guys. Ultimately, as well, this could indicate new sources of money through changes of identity coming from foreign lands and distant shores, or international borderless revenue and income. But ultimately, you are changing your identity for Aquarius rising, your career path for sun, and your home and nest for Aquarian moons. Now, because the stellium activates almost every house, Venus says you could have a change of home coming off of this, and look no further than the knowledge of a change of home if you're going to move, right? Look for knowledge of that, especially on the we'll start with the Kazemi, with let's say the 21st of January through to February 8th. You could have a shift in your romantic life and you could come into a new romantic partnership. You could have a change in your significant marriage partnerships, the ones that exist and the ones that are to come. You could have major revisions and changes with book publishing deals, foreign lands, foreign shores, publishing, podcasting, writing, communicating, marketing, and selling. Everybody's lit here. The whole sky's awake. You could have some changes in your chunky money, tax structures, the way you invest money, the way you share money with a significant other. Because the stellium keeps activating all the houses that belong to Venus, Mercury, and Mars. If an opportunity comes up to travel, and you haven't planned it yet, then you should definitely say yes to that planning or opportunity to travel. It will open up massive doors of destined opportunity. So when an opportunity for travel comes, short or long distance, anytime between the 21st of January and February 8th, your answer should be yes. True for sun, moon, and rising. You have a lot of weight on your side as you look across at your audience, your marketplace, and your significant other. And Mars has got a sword in your hand. This is often very useful if you want to cut and or sever a relationship that is no longer working for you. So know that your decision-making and your action-taking powers are highlighted. And you might have some real ability to execute on it. On a difficult decision to truncate and or sever a love relationship, a romantic relationship, or an existing long-term love relationship. And ultimately, if you want to make a significant change of career path, I don't just mean I'm going to move to the cubicle 2 doors over. This stellium means I don't want to be in this office space with these cubicles anymore. You're going to make that change with determined decisiveness, but there's going to be evidence of what change you need to make. It's not so much making the change before February 8th, of having the determined, resonant clarity that something's got to give, and this is the change you need to make. And you'll know that by February the 8th, what that change would be. Similar for moving a home. You'll know by February 8th where that move should be, if that's one of the options for you. If you're single, you're attractive. Venus is in your sign. It's not a bad time for a haircut. Boy, do I need one. But you also are more congenial and likable, and people are drawn to you with Venus in Aquarius. And she enters Aquarius, if I remember correctly, I think on the 17th of January. And so you become very charismatic, and your charm offensive is higher than usual in a very deep, profound way, because she's invisible. Like you have invisible rays of everybody wants to like you for some reason. So you can use this charm offensive throughout to February the 8th in order to maneuver people in a, not in a manipulative way, to honor what you want them to do. Right. So it's good to ask for help, especially for friends, allies, and benefactors, but anybody, because you'll get the help you need, and you'll be persuasively charming enough to get what you need and want without a lot of effort. But Pluto, Mars coming together with the sun in your sign, you're coming to a kind of, I don't even know where to say. Like, it's not a rock bottom, because that's not the right word. I'm going longer on us because we're the thick of it. It is like Pluto is death and rebirth, catharsis and transformation and regeneration. Mars is cutting and severing and ending. The solar energy is purpose energy. And the sun is the ruler of your 7th house of audience and clients and marketplace and public and significant others and business partnerships. So something deep and profound is changing in all of those other areas as you are changing within you. And Venus rules the house of writing. Mars rules your house of writing. Venus is book publishing. I just told my agent today that, yes, I'm committing to writing the book proposal, for example. So, with like 3 books in my hopper that I want to write. I'm not kidding you guys. I really am a writer. I can't believe I ended up with my Leo North Node, 7th house, being like the performer on a YouTube channel. But I would love for you guys to also go really deep, because I'm going to go really deep with this. Be careful for injury. Obviously, Mars is injuries in the 1st house, right? You don't need to have an injury. That's not an essential ingredient of this sky. So I wouldn't do anything risky, like I wouldn't go like, I don't know, dog sledding or bungee jumping or parachute diving during the sky. I really just wouldn't do that. Because don't tempt the fates, don't tempt Mars, right? Last thing you need is an injury. And that includes being careful when you're driving. Mars rules the house of going places in vehicles. So be very cautious. I'm giving you a warning, giving myself a warning. I don't, maybe I shouldn't take the car out of the garage for the next few weeks, but do not take risks in your walking, your driving, anything, what you do in the home. Be very, very careful. All right, that's what I've got for us. And let me know how you feel, Aquarians, about this powerful transformation. And Pisces, sun and moon and rising sign. Well, holy moly and moly, holy, holy, you have a 12th house stellium. I talk about spiritual liberation and moksha and enlightenment a lot because that's part of my journey. And you're now in the thick of it. Now, there's an interesting thing about the 12th house, because it's our own self-undoing. It's where we're blindsided by our own unconscious karmic stuff, childhood stuff, ancestral stuff. Did I say past life stuff? You got Mars cutting, severing, and ending. At a profound spiritual level, you could absolutely have the most amazing spiritual shift or perspective under the sky, starting with the Mercury Cazimi. So let's take us from January 20th to February 8th, looking for a massive enlightenment shift of some kind, especially Pisces rising. Pisces sun, it might be more about career paths and foreign lands, and Pisces moon might want to change your home to a distant place or move your home to a distant land. But for the risings, it's got a big enlightenment quality to it. Now, solitude and time alone can be very productive. Dreams at night can be mind-bendingly breakthrough for you. All right, so that's the energy of the 12th house. It's ruled by Saturn, right? Saturn rules Aquarius, just so you know. Saturn is in Pisces, your sign. You are being realistic and sober-minded, but until about the 26th of January, you're getting a lot of dissolvingness as you're being dissolved and also being sage-like. Saturn, the sage, Saturn, the wise old man and woman, Saturn, the discerning realist, with Neptune, the dissolving of enlightenment, unconditional love, oceanic consciousness at the highest level. Otherwise, you're having a mental nervous breakdown, right? Otherwise, reality is like looking really weird and you think you're going crazy. So there's something going on for a lot of Pisces rising in particular. But I will say that with Saturn in your sign, with the North Node of Destiny ruling the Aquarius stellium, you're probably going to find that you feel like you have a handle on it. that it's not really as bad as it could be, that it's not really sideswiping you as much as it should or could. Okay. That aside, what else can we do with that stellium? Well, I'll give you some ideas. Well, you could definitely rent a property. Why? Because the sun rules your rental properties and Mercury rules your house of home. Rent a home. You could travel short distance and you can travel long distance. And you could travel and you could rent a home, and you can rent a home or travel or all of the above. You could start writing a book. You could look into book publishing. You can align with purpose and meaning of life more deeply. You could receive some unexpected chunky money from an inheritance, a property sale, a relative. You could find yourself in this kind of a sky, opening up into a new direction when it comes to work, job, money, and opportunity. One of the strongest indications would be a relocation, most likely not a purchase, but a rental property opportunity. But it could also activate a rental property opportunity. And they're not exclusive. Like you rent the current home out and move to another one and rent it out, or you sell a home, you rent a home, rental. But it's more looking to me like rental opportunities in the sky. You might be looking at making some major changes, as which is Mars, right? In the 12th house, vis-a-vis your dietary styles and habits, because he rules your second. And with the sun ruler of the house of sickness, any dietary styles and habits and changes you're making are about addiction, removing addictions from your life, or changing your diet to improve your health significantly, to increase your vital force energy. And once you make those decisions through to February 8, when Saturn enters into your second house on February 14th, you'll have the gumption to stick with your new dietary style or habits or addiction removal, substance removal, and no longer be under that energy. Mercury rules your 7th house of long-term committed love, and you have a South Node transit there while he goes through your 12th house. And technically, we call him in an aversion to, but he would be 6th house from your 7th house as he goes through your 12th house sky, which could simply mean that you might find yourself in a situation with karmic relationships. Both the South Node in the 7th and the 6th house from that indicate karmic debt relationships. And there may be some significant things going on in a karmic debt relationship through to February the 8th. And by that means, I would say something along the lines of perhaps changing your relationship stature, cutting, severing, or ending a relationship that's karmic. This can be done potentially under this kind of a sky in a very spiritual way, and could even involve soul work where you're cutting cords, or shamanic soul work where you're cutting cords of connection to people that you've been romantically or long-term partnered up with in the past, and it's time to end them. But it's an interesting sky too for any current and ongoing relationships as well. Because the eclipse that's going to happen on February 17th will activate your romance house energetically, because the moon will be involved. And so there can be some major changes in relationship connected to romantic love. And if that happens, and this is a precursor through to February 8th, and the eclipse is on the 17th, it could be that you're going to move because of romantic relationships. You could also move because of work and career opportunities connected to foreign lands and distant shores. And you'll have more evidence for that over time, right, as we move through early February. Lastly, it's possible that a significant marriage partner, and I mean a marriage partner, not a dating person, that you're currently living with, married to, could end up with a hospital challenge and a health challenge. And I don't want to worry you, but when Mars and Pluto are there with Mercury, it could be very difficult for them. And so between about January 20th to February the 8th, it's possible you're dealing with a spouse in a hospital setting. Okay, I mean, that's just one way it could work. So how to proactively activate this, you make sure that your partner is getting their tests and blood work, and that they're up to date on their health stuff, and that they're doing what they need to do for better health. And that's what we've got That's what we got. Thanks for listening. Wait. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is my new motto, Lori on the sofa. It was so warm here today. I'm actually wearing a summer dress because I was warm. It's sunny all day in Vancouver. I wouldn't even say it was warm because I think it was cool outside, but my apartment heats up. But I think I'm going to meet you guys from now on the sofa because I think that sitting at the desk makes me feel like I'm having to go to work, and sitting on the sofa makes me feel like I'm talking to you guys as somebody hanging out with me in my living room. All right. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget, please like and subscribe. I have a really great outro coming up. Maybe I'll tell an outro now since I'm already lounging on the sofa. I got an outro for you. Okay. Do you guys know that everybody, pets, animals, people reincarnate, right? So I've got so many stories. Like my daughter's my grandmother. But so here's a story. I don't know if I told this one yet. I don't think I did. But if I did, I'm telling it again. So I'm sitting at my desk and my dad's spirit comes through just before Christmas. My dad's Mr. Ho-Ho Santa Claus. He loves Christmas time. I'm thinking, okay, he tells me not to work hard. Don't be a workaholic like him. I think, Dad, good advice. Haven't talked to him. He died in 97 for years. It was strange to see him show up, but I've got great stories about him. And I knew he hadn't reincarnated yet, nor has my mom. And so I do talk to dead people. And so he said, I'm coming back soon, Lori. And I'm like, oh, thank Dad, you're reincarnating. Will, tell me more. I'm coming back as your firstborn grandchild. I'm going to come back as Adrian, my son's child. And he said, soon. And I'm like, really? Wow. I think he told me the gender, but I forgot. And I think it's going to be a boy. And that was just before Christmas. He told me that. And then I just found out, I don't know, a week ago, early January, my daughter-in-law and my son came over for dinner and announced that they're going to have a baby. Now, I haven't told them that it's my dad coming through. I don't want to bias them. I want the baby to come out, and when the child's 1 or 2, I'll have evidence that it is or isn't my dad. But it's funny. I also didn't want to tell that to the mother because she's lost some family members too, and I bet she's hoping it's one of her long lost, like her brother passed away and her mom and stuff. And so, but I think my dad was pretty clear. And he said, I'm coming back as your son's firstborn child. And he really loved my son and they got along great. My son was only 10 or something when my dad died. And so it's like, I could see why he'd come back. He used to call my son Adrian. He used to call him Boo. I can see why he'd come back as my son's child on multiple levels. So I'm going to be a grandmother, but I knew it beforehand. I knew exactly when because I got talking to the dead people again. Anyway, that's a cute story. I love these outros. They're a lot of fun. Let me know what you think. Have you guys ever had premonitions about a birth of a child, a grandchild? Have you known that it was a reincarnation of a family member? And if so, tell me how in the comments. I love your stories. In fact, I think I might start when I put an outro for those of you who hang all the way out there for the outro. I might tell the best outro comment on the beginning of the next videos next time, and keep a running thread of these kinds of more mystical, awe-inspiring, wonder-filled conversations. We need more enchantment in life. James Moore in his book about the soul said, the soul has an absolute unforgiving need for regular excursions into enchantment. It needs it like the mind needs thoughts and the body needs food, right? So regular excursions into enchantment, which bring wonder, awe, and delight, are also stepping stones on the path to awakening. And awakening brings peace, surrender, and wonder. All right. I'm done. Thanks for listening. Ciao, guys.